All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever it is in the world you are streaming here on Twitter as well as Twitch and on YouTube. We've got all the boxes checked at last. What's going on, people? Rob Perez, Worldwide Wob. You knew that already. Back with another Q&A safe space. It's the Friday edition of Memorial Day. I don't know what you people are up to, but if you're spending it in here with me, gracias. I've been learning some Japanese, by the way, as I await people to join the chat for my trip to Japan. I have learned the essentials, which is konnichiwa, sumimasen, doka wa, where's the toilette? They call it like toilette, I think. The train sounds like train. Just learning all those keywords. Where's the bathroom? Where's the train? Where's the hospital? Where's the hotel? Those are the essentials of what you need to know, right? And right and left. If you're getting directions, right, left, right, left. But I forgot how fun it is to learn additional languages. Anyway, what's up? What are you guys up to this Memorial Day weekend? Are you going to your neighborhood well, not neighborhood, but your city's desirable beach location? It's going to be a rough weather weekend up in the Northeast, I think. People going out to Montauk and the Hamptons, the Jersey Shore. If you're in the New England, you go to like Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard and Cape Cod. It might be a little rough. I've experienced some cold weekends, Memorial Day in the Northeast. If you're down south, you're heading towards Destin, you're headed towards Myrtle Beach, South Beach. It's all going to be, any beach is going to be popping this weekend. But unfortunately, the ball does not stop. Some of us are going to be stuck here watching our teams play in the playoffs. This was always a fun time when I was back in my mid-20s and I was living on the Jersey Shore, because you're spending all day at the beach, you're going out to the bars, you come home or go out to the local spot to watch the game. Everyone stops their weekend vacation activity to watch the big game. And then you either stay at the bar or you go out somewhere else. Because when I was staying in Manasquan, New Jersey, there was this place called Leggett's, and right next to where we were staying in the war zone. And I remember the game. It was LeBron James in Boston, Game 6. The game that ended up defining LeBron's career. The big one. I remember exactly where I was the night that game was played. You thought that the remnants of that Boston Big Three would finally just stomp on LeBron's soul, but it was not to be done that night. What's up, people? All right, let me start scrolling the chat. If you would like to join us, click say something at the bottom of the screen. If you would like to participate in the Q&A, if you're on a mobile device, it should be at the bottom. I don't know what it looks like on desktop, but we'll figure it out together regardless. Happy long weekend to you guys as well. What's up, Coach Mike? Khan says, Wob, today will be the day the Knicks epitomize this season in a 3-hour time span. Do you mean that positively? Because every single time the Knicks have been knocked out, whose eyes roll to the back of their head like the Undertaker, and then they sit up, they're going to have to do it again for the millionth time. That game wasn't hurt. That game wasn't hurt, man. That's as much hurt as it possibly gets. But if they go out there and just beat the brakes off the Pacers again, they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves, that they should be up 2-0, and we're just better than these guys. But Halliburton's incredible. And you know what? Jalen Brunson's the obvious clutch player of the year. He's the guy that you want on your team closing out a game in 2025 to win you a championship. But Halliburton's missed one shot all season long to either tie the game or take the lead. And what is it, the final 2 minutes or something? That is ludicrous. And the Pacers are there to match the Knicks in every single strength that they have. And that's what makes this rivalry, as well as the 2025 version, so entertaining. I wish I didn't have a dog in this fight, because I would just be popcorn. What else we got here? I don't feel like... All right. Who has a better MVP year, SGA or Harden? Why do you guys think about this stuff? Is that really like your first question? The first thing that was on your mind that you wanna ask me is about Harden's MVP versus SGA's. I guess you're entitled to your opinion and what you do in your free time. That's just something I have never ever thought about. Well, considering the answer is going to be SGA because the historical efficiency that occurs every single year as the game just gets faster and faster. Every team's offensive rating and net rating is the greatest of all time. The shot rate of the Golden State Warriors during their death lineup days would rank 30th in 2025. So I think it's just more so. I, I'll take SGA just also because they set the NBA record for double digit victories in the regular season. So SGA didn't even play a lot of fourth quarters, and he could have been juicing up those stats even more than they already were. I got some YouTube chatters as well. What's up, YouTube? Righteous Bruce says Halliburton's clutch stats are insane. They are as insane as Jalen Brunson's. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. It is true. Guy just doesn't miss. Do you understand the geometry behind that ball going through the hoop when it hits the back rim and it goes above the shot clock? Every single second that the ball goes up, it makes it more and more difficult for it to fall in a straight line through the hoop. It was an act of God. And the sports analogy that I used on the Sirius XM show at the time was this was the basketball equivalent of that Patriots Falcons Super Bowl. During the comeback, like 9 different things had to happen. If one of the 9 didn't, the Falcons win that game, right? Aaron Nesmith had to make every single one of those ridiculous shots. If he misses so much as one, it's a valiant comeback, but it falls short. And oh, by the way, the New York Knicks scored 6 points in the final 59 seconds of regulation. Jalen Brunson gave the Knicks the lead, got the Knicks the lead back 3 times in overtime after losing it. Like everyone delivered, everyone did their part. And it was just this supernatural force that made the Pacers win the game. I have no other explanation for it. AJ asks, I'm a Sacramento Kings fan. Will I ever find happiness or am I permanently cooked? You might be permanently cooked. Someone's got to tell it to you. Praying for no rain for the Coca-Cola 600 Sunday night. You know, if there's a big NASCAR race, there's going to be rain. That's the way it works. Somebody out there in the chat knows about Leggett's. That means you know about the Boom Boom Room. That means you know about the Osprey. I spent many nights in said establishments. I wonder what they look like today. I can't imagine it's changed a whole lot. Do they still serve the tall boys? Still serve the tall boys inside the Osprey. You could get a tall boy back in I was there in 2011, 2012. $10, 24 ounces. That was expensive at the time. I wonder what it is now. It's probably like $20. Armin asks, what do we got on the card tonight, Wob? Fancy you ask. Because we have our partners at ProfitX, who we are very thankful for, sponsoring this stream, sponsoring our community as well. You can see the spread here on the screen for the game tonight. The New York Knicks are 6-point favorites. I'm not necessarily in a rush to bet anything there. But man, I've been dead on with these damn points props. And it's like I bet you guys saw me bet against Nesmith in game 1. And this is actually before we pick something to bet on here. So you want to talk about the act of the basketball gods. One of the most underrated parts of game 1 that I heard very few people talking about is if around the 5-minute mark left in the fourth quarter when the Pacers were down, 14 points or so, they were 1 possession away. If the Knicks scored, Carlisle was starting to look down the bench and he was going to put in the third unit and say, we're going to punt, get ready for game 2. But what happened was Andrew Nembhard got his 5th foul and he was taken out of the game. Who replaced him? Aaron Nesmith. And at the time, I was paying attention to this because you saw me bet Aaron Neesmith under 12 and a half points, and he had 10. And I'm like, God damn, now I have to sweat him coming out here and drilling threes. And guess what he did? He scored 18 points the moment he came back in. So obviously it was capped correctly in that if there was going to be a blowout or Neesmith or Nemhard, one of the two could potentially get into foul trouble. It was Nemhard that brought Neesmith back out there. And then that act of God, because if Nemhard is still out there and doesn't commit that foul, who knows if the Pacers make all of those shots that Neesmith did. Just weird butterfly effect. Weird butterfly effect. So with that said, I do have a take and an angle on tonight's game. And my take is that anyone that's been watching these New York Knicks games throughout the playoffs has seen Karl-Anthony Towns have plays drawn up for him by Tom Thibodeau to start each and every game. They want to assert his influence. They want the bodega cat to go down to the block and punish those wing defenders that are patrolling the three-point arc to prevent him from catching and shooting like they did all season long. But Cat has done a lot of his scoring early. And it is my belief, as I continue to scroll to look for the name that I'm about to talk about, and there he is. If the Pacers have any sort of depth weakness without Isaiah Jackson available due to injury, I do believe that getting Miles Turner out of the game should be more of a priority than Aaron Neesmith. Because of Andrew Nembhard and TJ McConnell, they'll always have depth there. But there is a pretty steep fall off when Miles Turner comes off the floor, both size-wise, protecting the rim, three-point shooting ability if they have to go from Miles Turner down to Thomas Bryant. Now, Obi Toppin's going to get some minutes as well, but those are two individuals who Karl-Anthony Towns would feast on their flesh with. So I have a feeling, my take tonight is the New York Knicks are going to go out of their way to put Miles Turner to the test in the restricted area, force the referees to make a tough decision on his verticality. And I think you will see Karl-Anthony Towns try and get Miles Turner out of this game. It changes the whole dynamic of the Indiana defense as well as the other side of the floor. So with that, all of that said, I'm going to book under 14 and a half, thinking Miles Turner gets into some foul trouble tonight. We'll throw like $20 on this. How about that? Cash me outside Profit X. How about that? All right. That's my take. That's my angle. I think you will continue. It's been every single game this playoffs. Karl-Anthony Towns being featured to start the game before he gets into foul trouble himself. And I like him targeting Miles Turner, as the New York Knicks might identify if there's any cracks in this armor, because they have these never-ending soldiers that get sent to the front line. For me, the front, the interior, the center position, like that cannot just be filled seamlessly by Pascal Siakam, Thomas Bryant, or Obi Toppin. I think the Knicks are going to target Miles Turner. That's my take. Thoughts? Does either team have a shot against the Thunder? No. Well, the Pacers more than the Knicks, but it's about style of fights. The Thunder advance, they're going to win the NBA championship. After what we saw last night, that we want to talk about point. They do everything that Indiana does well, but just the T1000 version. Like Tyrese Halliburton, incredibly clutch, right? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looked like a justified, valid MVP last night. This guy is sensational, creating his own shot. You want to talk about hockey shifts and rotating, revolving doors of point of attack defenders? My God. When was the last time Minnesota got an open look inside the three-point arc? Watching Jane McDaniels foul out in 23 minutes and then have to shove Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the back last night because he was so frustrated. The way that they create offense off of turnovers, they're doubling up the Timberwolves in both of these games. I think it was 23-10 last night, and it may have been 31-10 points conceded off of turnovers. I don't have it in front of me at the moment. They are forcing turnovers, and it is the most guaranteed 2 points going the other way since the Lakers in the bubble. That team was ridiculous. LeBron, AD, Caruso, Kuzma, KCP, whoever. They got out and they went the moment they got a turnover. They're so good, they turned defensive rebounds into turnovers, live ball turnovers. And man, can they finish. J-Dub's back too. 1 turnover for J-Dub in the last 3 games. And this guy is playing high 30s, shooting 20 times a night. Not my Shadrick says, hope the Pacers pull it out, but the series is already so good. I appreciate so many fans just appreciating solid basketball with this matchup. This has been a series which will do wonders for the NBA brand moving forward as this next chapter of Knicks Pacers. The rivalry is stretching across multiple generations. The quality of the game is just high too. If you anything in life, if it's good, people will find it. That I can promise you. If it's good, people will find it. It doesn't even need to buy advertising. It will be found. People will talk. And when the product is this good, people will be going out of their ways on Memorial Day vacation weekend to watch this game tonight, putting everything else on pause. Moomy says, what do you like to see from New York Knicks coach for tonight's game? There's a specific way you prefer to set up the team tonight. I would love some Mitchell Robinson. I don't mind going to those campaign minutes as well. I think the rotation should be. It's so funny how what we would be saying today if the Knicks won this game, the narrative would completely flip. But now it's Thibodeau runs his guys into the ground and they couldn't execute down the stretch. That had nothing to do with it. I mean, talking to Antonio today, we brought Ryan Arcidiacono onto the show, played for Tibbs and alongside these Villanova Wildcats. Like everyone tells you it's so overblown. And the execution down the stretch, I don't think had as much to do with fatigue as many are trying to lead you to believe. I think the Pacers just made so many shots and put the nails to the Knicks. Now, there was a couple of times, remember the Jalen Brunson save on the sideline where he bounced it off the floor and it somehow ended up in Josh Hart's lap at the logo? Do you remember when Josh Hart slipped and then he had to chase down that ball before it was like 2 inches from going out of bounds? Like, for a team that has been absolute nails against the Pistons, against the Celtics, the 21-0 run in the fourth at the Garden, coming back from multiple 20-point deficits against the Celtics, for them to execute in that way was, quite honestly, shocking. Let's see what else we got. Do you guys give any credence to the rumors that Indiana sacrificed? What? You talking about Jim Irsay, who just passed? Come on, man. You guys know I'm Ron Burgundy. I'll read anything that's in the comments, but let's not be crazy now. Hopefully not another Neesmith under. No, I learned my lesson there. Even though this will be the game that the under hits. He'll go like 1 of 8. You know, he's leading the entire NBA in 3-point true shooting percentage by a significant margin. Christensen in the chat says 86 points for the OKC, but 3 last night, all over 20 points. No other player scored in double digits. When J-Dub is finishing like that, he's a perfect release valve, the same way Mikal Bridges is for Jalen Brunson. When J-Dub flashes to the middle, when you try and throw some extra bodies at Shea or you hard hedge, you show, you double, someone's got to flash to the middle of the floor. And when J-Dub catches it, turns and faces, he's willing to take that mid-range jumper. So is Isaiah Hartenstein with that little bloop, flippity flip, the Papa shot. J-Dub last night, how many times did he just get into that open space and finish? And let me tell you, if he had another stinker against those Denver Nuggets after those 2 games, games 5 and game 6, he was going to be looking for real estate. He was going to be hitting up an agent for a house in the Phoenix metropolitan area. That was not the case. It's funny how the narrative just completely flips in victory or defeat. Sorry if this has been asked already, says Mike. I saw an interesting tweet and take with Caitlin Clark already third in triple doubles, I think you mean. Will she be the WNBA's Oscar or Wilt with these crazy? No, there will never be another Wilt. Are you kidding me? Caitlin Clark could go out there and drop 50, 10, and 10 every single night. And Wilt Chamberlain will have 300 games where he had a 70, 50, 30 game. That dude has the most ridiculous numbers of any sport ever. He was a T-Rex walking around the Jurassic Park lobby. Who is the more underrated player out of Cason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins? No casuals know those guys, and they are demons. Well, they do some different things. Cason Wallace, 3-and-D. Cason Wallace's ability to choke off those passing avenues, to roadblock those things, deflections, is very noticeable. If you bring the ball down as a big, he's always the first one to get his hands in there with Caruso to strip. He can catch and shoot on the other end. He moves like a vet, even though he's only been in the league a couple of seasons. I love his finishing ability and his cohesiveness with the rest of that brain of Oklahoma City's defense. Like, you have to be fully integrated into the fabric of everything that they do, the way that they move, the way that they talk and they communicate, and they're all incredibly skilled. And Minnesota has not been able to assert their influence on that defense the same way that they did against Los Angeles and Golden State. And those were two defenses following the All-Star break that were two of the top 5, top 10 in the NBA considerably. And this OKC is just something different. It does give you a new, Antonio brought up a good point, man. It gives you a new appreciation for Nikola Jokic, that if you didn't already have it, and how he was able to make them look so mortal 3 out of 7 times. And I understand he had some games where he didn't even get up double digits shots, or he was having poor shooting performances, but the attention paid to that man. It's a good question. Victor Wembanyama is still young enough that he could still be growing, isn't he? What is he, 20? My guess is he's 21. If he's a late bloomer, which I don't think he is. I have almost 2,000 more views than the NBA stream of Tom Thibodeau's interview. Oh, sweet. What's up, everybody? This is the world famous Q&A with Worldwide Wob on Memorial Day Friday. The preview stuff never performs as well as the post-game stuff, because the emotion of the moment is when you're doing post-game shows, like you got veins coming out of your neck, you're all flustered from that dramatic historical finish, and everyone's trying to make sense of it and react and, share that in a community. Preview doesn't bring the same juice. Tommy in the chat says, it's my first night of vacation with my fiance and the parents tonight. Oh, okay. But game 2 is on. Tips for escaping dinner to watch. Oof. Okay. My first question to you is, can you put the phone in your lap? Is your family okay with putting the phone on the table, or is it a traditional family where they might find that rude? Because if that's the case, then I think you're just going to need to strategically go to the bathroom a couple of times. I think the best way is to just put it in your lap and turn down the brightness of the phone so that it doesn't, if your phone is too bright, it'll start hitting the undercarriage of your chin. And then everyone at the table will know that there's a phone on. And if they catch you looking at it, they're going to think that you're watching something. And then if you get caught, you're even more rude than if you were upfront about it. Tommy said they wouldn't mind at all, but come on, it's the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. I need the big screen. Oh, I understand that. I mean, if they're cool with it, just put the phone on the table. This is part of the reason why I convinced myself that I'm single, because I would not be able to sit at a table like that, even if I love someone to death, when a game of this magnitude is on. It's just the way that I'm wired. So it sounds like you can relate, but sacrifices that we make, this is one of them. Someone in the Prophet X chat said, has anybody confirmed if Caitlin Clark likes Italians yet? Italian food? Italian people? You got to be more specific. The undercarriage, right? The undercarriage glow. If the phone's too bright, it's going to give it away. If you turn down the brightness, you can get away with looking down there when you're out of the conversation. I am an expert in that field. If you're on a date or something and you're keeping your eye, I did get caught. I'll tell a quick story. A girl I was dating last summer, we went to a wedding down in Laguna Beach, and I was watching, let's see, the end of a Miami football game, University of Miami, because I had a bet on it. I think they were playing USF, and I was trying to catch the end of it, and I eventually got caught, and I was like, she's like, are you watching something in your lap? Now, granted, this is like the second date, so you're still in you're supposed to be polite territory. You can't get away with putting the phone in the lap, especially when you're amongst her friends. And I definitely got caught. I think I played it off as best as I could, but I was like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm just checking on something for work. I'm sorry. What did you say? Let's see. Oh, Italian food. I don't know what that means. Why would Caitlin Clark like Italian food? What's up, Donnie Shea? We got chats coming in from the YouTube channel, from Prophet X's Twitter channel, from mine as well. Jake asks in one of these chats, do the Bucks have what it takes to make trades, flip contracts, and make things work to put a championship caliber team around Giannis before his prime ends? No, they do not. They are screwed. They are one of the 5 teams that are screwed. Denver, Phoenix, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Boston. Second apron hell. You're going to have to strip down for parts. The Nuggets can survive because they still have their core locked up, but they're going to have to trade Michael Porter Jr., and that's so they could have some sort of roster maneuverability. I was not watching the Pop-Tart Bowl. It was a game in September. Just be honest with them. Well, listen, at that point, if we're going on a date of that quality, or like meeting with parents, they're already going to know my life revolving around the Knicks and the NBA is part of the gig. For decades, I've had to sacrifice social gatherings and stuff with friends and family this is when the NBA schedule is in its tax season. So people ask me for advice sometimes about working in the league, working around the league. And I'm like, here's your first piece of advice. If you ever want to cover the NBA nationally, if you cover a local team, that's different. Completely different job. But if you want to cover nationally, you have to live on the West Coast of the United States. Step number 1, especially if you have kids and a family, you will never see them. You'll be up all night. You'll never sleep. And even if you're single, you will never have a social life, because on the East Coast, games tip at 7 p.m. and they end at 1:30 a.m. That's when your work starts. So you will see the sun come up almost every single day. You won't feel healthy. You won't be able to go out and work normal hours. On the West Coast, it lines up. So games start at 4, then they end at 10, and your work gets done by 11 and midnight, and you can have a normal lifestyle with somewhat normal hours. Europe, games tip. When I was in France, that shit broke my body. When I was there for the Paris games didn't tip until 1 a.m. They run until 7:30 a.m. How do y'all do it over there? Someone in the chat asks, am I going to the Jalen Brunson lookalike contest? can't say that I'm going to win that one. I'm the sin has. Should the Clippers feel better about where they are given how the Nuggets Thunder series played out? Yeah. Yeah. The Clippers pulled the Clippers in Denver in Ball Arena. But they lost to a formidable opponent. But this is just Clippers bullshit. Same Clippers shit as always. I'm done with them. Sorry. The same way I'm done with playing poker. What else am I done with? I think I really hope I'm done playing poker. I got wrecked last night again. I'm going into the poker hospital. There's certain things, as soon as the summer gets here, I'm just done with. So many shows too. Like I'm fried. If I'm going to lose at poker, I would rather lose it to ProfitX than lose to someone who has not earned my action at a poker table. I hate losing to people who don't give action. What's good? So the Pacers are plus 225 tonight. That's crazy. Pacers have been 6-point dogs every single time they played in Cleveland. 6-point dogs, 6-point dogs. And all they do is just find ways to steal these games. Zuzu in the chat says, I'm in Europe and I haven't gone to sleep until 4 a.m. for about a month now. Some days I'm absolutely broken physically, but I get used to it for the love of the game. How old are you, Zuzu? Are you in your 20s or your 30s? Because that would certainly help. Once you start getting older, it's tough to do those hours, man. Now, I don't go to bed until late, but I sleep in. But man, I don't know how Europeans are able to stay up for standard NBA times. Because if you are staying up till 4 watching a game, how do you have a family that, like, as soon as the game is over, you're getting an hour of sleep, your kids are waking up, your wife is waking up to go to work? That is, like, my body hurts so much. And the worst part was, because I had to force myself to go to sleep. I had to force myself to go to sleep in Paris from exactly 6 p.m. local time until 12:30 a.m. local time, which is where I'm from in the United States, minus 9 hours. So that's 12, 6. Imagine trying to go to bed at like 9:30 a.m. every single day, full. You have to be so trained in doing graveyard shifts. Your body just isn't wired to get a full night's sleep. I would wake up after 45 minutes, like, and then you just got 30 minutes of sleep, and you're definitely not going back to bed. So I would just lay there, and then the games would start, and you get so tired, and your body, your stomach, your digestion starts to fail because you're not getting any rest. Everything hurts. And then at the end of the trip, the insomnia started kicking in, where I was just wired and not even close to being tired. And then you got to fly back home. There's no worse place for a Pacific time zone United States person to be than like Western Europe. At least if you go to Japan, if you go to Australia, they're so far ahead, it's actually somewhat normal. Man, that was tough. Tough. Yeah, that would explain it. You're 20 years old. What hand did me in? I don't think it was one in particular, but we were playing the stand-up game, so there was a lot of bluffing. I got so many bluffs through, but everyone was bluffing, so of course I made a couple of tough folds that ended up being the wrong folds. Got caught bluffing once or twice. Like, I guess I should have just like shoved and shoved and shoved. But if I just get snapped off once, it's over. I don't know. Poker's, I understand it better as well as anyone out there. I know all my hands. I'm like a walking, breathing simulator in my head. I know the percentages with everything. It just doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter if someone just catches a jack on the river. Execute Order 66 says that's just a different love. Yeah, that's sicko shit. The West Coast of the United States is by far the best time zone in the world for sports. You still, even if you're into European soccer, that's on in the mornings. NFL and college football on in the mornings. NBA's on in the afternoons. Baseball afternoons. Like you can have your own life. Any more action tonight? Oh, now that you mention it. So we're on Miles Turner's under. Let's see. Is there any popular specials? Deuce McBride, total points, rebounds, and assists. Ooh, I kind of like that. Over. I'm not usually an over better when it comes to props. Siakam, 3-pointers made? Is he really making more than, is he making at least 2? I think Deuce McBride's going to get some burn tonight. Over 10 and you know what? His PRA is 10.5. I think Miles McBride's going to get like 25 minutes of burn tonight. Just a small bet, $10. Just because you asked. I like his PRA over. And if there's a blowout or foul trouble, first man off the bench is Deuce McBride in the backcourt. Usually overs are not the sharp side, but the over here, because it's so low and he's coming off the bench, that he might. There's ways, if there's an injury, if there's foul trouble, if there's a blowout, there's so many ways for that number to get there. And because it's PRA, it doesn't just rely on points, obviously. 90% of the money's on Nesmith overs. That makes a lot of sense because people are just steaming after that finale to game 1. He's 12.5. That's nuts. That's a low number for a guy that's leading. There's a reason why it's juiced this much. Who is leading the NBA in true shooting percentage? What else you guys got? I got a couple minutes left, and then I have to go do a Bleacher Report stream reacting to the all NBA teams, if you'd like to join me over there. But for now, we're hanging out here, betting on shit on ProfitX. I think it's quiet in here because so many people are traveling. It's a big travel day, man. I'm glad I'm not at the airport, that's for sure. It is so gorgeous outside. This is why we pay 13% state tax in California. Days like this, you're paying for the weather. What's the ideal closing lineup for the Knicks tonight? Cat, Brunson, Mikal, OG, Josh Hart. As much as I want Mitchell Robinson out there, Mitchell Robinson's influence is crazy. God, he gets every rebound, man. But yeah, you got to go with the Iron 5. KD in the chat says, I saw those Kyries you posted the other day. Oh, you liked my Tiffany's? The internet loved my Tiffany's. Did you see how my stance is getting zestier and zestier with each photo? The knee is getting a little bit more bent. That shit, it gets more engagement than anything. It's crazy. It's meant to be bait, but sometimes if you do bait long enough, it just becomes reality. It's no longer fantasy world. It just becomes part of you. For the longest time, I was pretending to be a boomer until I realized I am a boomer. No, yeah. I can just embrace this character, make it my lifestyle. Oh wait, my favorite current sneaker. The KD 10s, the K Yows. It's either the 10s or the 11s. think it might be the 11s actually. Let me Kevin Durant 11s. K Yao shoes. I think they're 11. Let's find out. I have like this super limited edition and they're so worn out. No, it's K. I spelled Yao Yao. That's wrong. That's Yao Ming. I don't know what these yeah, I think it's 11s. Man, these are so rare. I can't even find a picture of them. Hold on. Bear with me, people. I can't find them. This is taking too long. This is not good streaming. All right, friends. I do need to depart and prepare for this other live stream. So I am going to say goodbye for the weekend. Perhaps we'll be back on Monday. Hopefully we have some good news to talk about regarding the Knicks. But until then, it's been your boy, Worldwide Wob. You guys have a fun and safe Memorial Day weekend. And if you don't live in the United States, have a good weekend regardless. The world is a tough place. You might as well try and enjoy it while you're here. Things could be a lot worse. A lot worse. See you on the timeline. GG's in the chat.